In the past day, we've said goodbye to four extraordinary lives, voices of music, leadership, and soul whose journeys, though different, shared the same devotion to truth and art. From the poetic defiance of Greece to the quiet strength of Portugal, from the heartfelt melodies of the Philippines to the soaring spirit of Ecuador, each left behind a legacy of passion, courage, and authenticity. Their paths may have been distinct, but their purpose was shared, to express life in all its depth and beauty. Through words, notes, and actions, they reminded us that creation is an act of faith, a way of saying that what we feel, dream, and believe can change the world. If any of their stories touched your heart, please consider leaving a like to help keep their memories alive. Music is not just entertainment, it is the conscience of a society, a mirror reflecting both its beauty and its struggles. Dionysis Savvopoulos was born on December 2, 1944 in Thessaloniki, Greece, a city steeped in myth, music, and restless spirit. Its winding streets and ancient rhythms shaped him, infusing his art with a blend of history and rebellion that would later define his voice. From a young age, he was drawn to poetry, theater, and the pulse of everyday life, the laughter in cafes, the tension in politics, the quiet dignity of ordinary people. Words fascinated him, not just for how they sounded, but for what they could do, how they could move, challenge, unite, or comfort. By the 1960s, as Greece found itself caught between tradition and modernity, Savvopoulos emerged as a unique and fearless voice. He wasn't content to imitate or conform. He mixed folk melodies with social commentary, humor with melancholy, and ancient Greek myth with contemporary reality. His music carried the language of his people, but also the energy of a world changing before their eyes. With each song, he held up a mirror to his society, not judging but questioning, searching, illuminating. Albums such as Fortigo, Ballos, and Vermiko Somi captured the very essence of Greek life in times of uncertainty and hope. They were not just records, they were reflections of a generation growing up amid upheaval, seeking meaning in chaos. His lyrics spoke to the contradictions of his time, the longing for freedom and the fear of losing identity, the beauty of imperfection, the humor that survives even in darkness. He sang of love and loss, of politics and poetry, of Greece itself, timeless, wounded, proud, and tender. Savvopoulos was not only a musician, he was a storyteller, philosopher, and chronicler. His performances were more than concerts, they were gatherings of souls. In the candlelit theaters and crowded squares, he created a shared space where emotion and intellect met, where laughter often followed tears. During the dark years of political repression, his songs became acts of quiet resistance, veiled enough to pass censors, yet powerful enough to keep hope alive. Through metaphor and melody, he gave people a language for courage. As the decades passed, Savvopoulos remained a steady light in Greece's cultural landscape. He evolved with time, exploring new forms while staying rooted in authenticity. His influence stretched beyond music, inspiring poets, playwrights, and young songwriters to find their own voices, to write not for approval but for truth. And despite his fame, he carried himself with humility. He spoke softly, thought deeply, and lived as if every conversation could be a verse, every silence a stanza. When news of his passing came in 2025, Greece fell silent and then began to sing. Tributes echoed from concert halls and classrooms, from radio stations and street corners. Generations who had grown up with his voice felt the loss as if a part of their own story had ended. In Thessaloniki, his birthplace, people gathered by the waterfront, playing his songs on guitars, their voices rising together over the Aegean breeze. Dionysis Savvopoulos left behind more than music. He left a philosophy that art is not decoration but dialogue. His songs taught that creativity must speak to conscience, that beauty without honesty is hollow, and that laughter, too, can be a form of resistance. Today, his legacy lives on, in the verses that continue to be sung, in the courage he gave to those who feared silence, and in the belief that even in the hardest times, art can keep a nation's soul alive. His voice, calm and questioning, still drifts through the air of Greece, a reminder that truth, like melody, never truly fades. Freedom of the press is not a privilege, it is a responsibility, and one that democracy cannot survive without. Francisco Pinto Balsemão was born on September 1, 1937, in Lisbon, Portugal, into a world defined by quiet restraint and cautious ambition. Yet within that world, he carried a restless mind and a conviction that words, ideas, and truth could be instruments of change. From an early age, he was drawn to journalism, not for glamour or power, but for the pursuit of clarity in an often clouded society. Educated at the University of Lisbon, where he studied law, Balsemão quickly found that his true calling was not in the courtroom, but in the newsroom. In the tense years of Portugal's dictatorship, he became a journalist who valued integrity above all else. Through careful writing and quiet courage, he learned how to speak truth in times when truth itself was dangerous. His early work revealed both intellect and empathy, a deep understanding of his country's struggles, and a determination to see it freer, fairer, and more open. In 1973, Balsemão co-founded the weekly newspaper Expresso, a publication that would soon become one of Portugal's most respected voices. At a time when censorship and control still shadowed the nation, Expresso stood as a beacon of independence, fearless, rigorous, and thoughtful. Under his leadership, it set new standards for Portuguese journalism, combining investigative depth with moral purpose. To this day, Expresso remains a symbol of what a free press can achieve when guided by principle rather than pressure. After the Carnation Revolution of 1974, which brought democracy to Portugal, Balsemão stepped from journalism into politics, not out of ambition, but out of duty. He helped found the Social Democratic Party, PSD, and quickly became one of its most respected figures. Known for his calm demeanor and analytical mind, he served in various roles, including Minister of State and later as Prime Minister from 1981 to 1983. His leadership was marked by moderation and thoughtfulness, qualities that sought stability during a time of transition and uncertainty. Though his tenure was brief, his impact was lasting. He believed that democracy must be nourished by patience, dialogue, and an informed citizenry. To him, governing was not about control, but about building trust between people, institutions, and ideas. He carried that same belief back into media, when he later became the head of the Impressa Media Group, fostering a new generation of journalists and expanding the reach of independent Portuguese broadcasting through SIC, the nation's first private television network. Throughout his life, Balsemão remained a quiet revolutionary, a man who wielded influence through intellect, not volume. He was respected not only for his accomplishments, but for his integrity, humility, and consistency. Whether in politics or journalism, he stood by one unwavering principle, that truth and responsibility are the twin foundations of freedom. When Francisco Pinto Balsemão passed away in 2025, tributes came not only from Portugal, but from across Europe. Statesmen, journalists, and citizens alike spoke of him as a pioneer, a man who helped shape the nation's democratic identity through both his words and his actions. Newspapers ran his portrait beside headlines about freedom and responsibility, echoing the values he had lived by. In the quiet of Lisbon's streets, people recalled his voice, calm, precise, and unwavering. The voice of a man who believed that democracy must be defended every single day, not through noise, but through truth. Francisco Pinto Balsemão's life was a testament to the idea that leadership, at its best, is service, that true influence comes not from domination, but from example. He reminded the world that freedom is fragile, and that those who hold the pen, the platform, or the power must do so with conscience. His story endures as a reminder that courage can be gentle, that integrity can guide nations, and that sometimes the quietest voices leave the strongest echoes. Music is my way of speaking when words aren't enough. It's how I tell my story and connect with the world. Davey Langit was born on December 15, 1985, in Manila, Philippines, a city alive with color, chaos, and music. From his earliest memories, he was surrounded by the hum of melodies, the chatter of street vendors, the rhythms of jeepneys on busy streets, the radio playing pop, rock, and local ballads late into the night. Music was not just background, it was the language of life itself, and for Langit, it became a calling. As a boy, he taught himself guitar and piano, crafting simple tunes that quickly revealed a natural gift for melody and lyric. By his teens, he was writing original songs, performing at school events, and sharing his music online, long before social media became a global stage. Even in these early performances, Langit's work stood out for its honesty and intimacy. Every note carried a story, every lyric a pulse of lived experience. In 2008, Langit entered the spotlight in earnest, joining the music competition Pinoy Dream Academy, where his voice and songwriting quickly drew attention. Unlike many competitors who relied on showmanship alone, Langit's performances were sincere, filled with emotional nuance and technical skill. He became a favorite not only for his talent, but for his humility, a young man whose music was bigger than himself. Langit's career blossomed in the years that followed. He released multiple albums and singles, often blending pop sensibilities with heartfelt balladry, crafting songs that resonated deeply with listeners of all ages. Beyond commercial success, his work was defined by connection. He wrote songs that felt personal to everyone who heard them, turning ordinary experiences of love, loss, and hope into shared, universal moments. Collaboration was another hallmark of Langit's journey. He worked with fellow Filipino artists, contributing to albums, soundtracks, and concerts, always bringing his distinctive voice and warmth to every project. Critics praised him not only for his musicality, but for the integrity with which he approached his craft, a rare combination of professionalism and heart. Off the stage, Davey Langit was known for his generosity and dedication to community. He mentored younger musicians, shared insights about songwriting and performance, and used his platform to inspire others to pursue their dreams. Friends and colleagues remember him as approachable, encouraging, and endlessly passionate, someone whose love for music extended far beyond his own career. When news of Davey Langit's passing came in 2025, the Filipino music community and fans across the world mourned deeply. Tributes poured in from radio stations, fellow musicians, and fans, who recalled his songs as the soundtrack to their own lives. Songs sung in bedrooms, in cars, at weddings, and late-night gatherings. Social media filled with clips of his performances, stories of how his music had inspired, comforted, or brought joy, and heartfelt messages remembering the man behind the songs. Davey Langit's legacy is not measured solely in albums sold or concerts performed. It is found in the way he made people feel seen, heard, and understood. His voice, his songs, and his heart continue to live on in every note sung by those he touched, every musician inspired by his example, and every listener who found their own story reflected in his music. Even now, when one hears a tender melody, a well-crafted lyric, or a song that speaks directly to the heart, there is a trace of Davey Langit, a reminder that music is not just sound, but life, emotion, and connection made tangible. His spirit remains alive in every chorus, every verse, and every heart that beats in time with his song. Music is the bridge between souls. It tells the stories we often cannot speak. Paulina Tamayo was born in 1990 in Medellin, Colombia, a city alive with rhythm, color, and culture. From her earliest memories, she felt the pulse of music in the streets around her, the cadence of cumbia, the soulful hum of vallenato, and the emerging sounds of pop, jazz, and Latin fusion that filled the airwaves. Music was not merely entertainment for her. It was a language, a way to communicate emotion, identity, and resilience. In a city still recovering from social and political turbulence, music became both refuge and expression, a way to transform hardship into beauty and pain into art. As a child, Tamayo began exploring her own voice, experimenting with piano and guitar, and composing songs that reflected the world she observed. Her talent was evident early on, not just in her technical proficiency, but in her ability to convey profound emotion. Each note she played or sang carried a story. Each lyric hinted at a world that was larger, more intricate, and more human than most people dared to acknowledge. Her family and teachers quickly recognized that her artistry was not fleeting, it was a calling. By her late teens, Paulina had begun performing professionally, her voice drawing audiences to intimate venues and larger stages alike. She blended traditional Colombian rhythms with contemporary pop, jazz, and world music, creating a sound that honored her roots while speaking to global sensibilities. Every performance carried her trademark authenticity, a rare capacity to make each listener feel as if the song was written just for them. Her music reflected life in its entirety, joy and sorrow, hope and longing, personal reflection, and collective experience. Tamayo's career expanded as she collaborated with renowned artists both within Colombia and internationally. She contributed to albums, soundtracks, and live productions, earning praise not only for her vocal range and skill, but also for her songwriting, which often explored themes of love, social change, identity, and cultural pride. Her compositions offered nuanced storytelling, blending personal introspection with social commentary, capturing both the beauty and complexity of human experience. Beyond her artistry, Paulina was deeply committed to mentoring the next generation of musicians. She believed in nurturing talent with patience, encouragement, and honesty, teaching young artists that music was not only about performance, but about integrity, empathy, and connection. Her workshops and mentorship programs became safe spaces where creativity flourished and where the values of respect, dedication, and passion were instilled alongside technical skills. Despite her growing fame, Tamayo remained grounded and approachable. Friends and colleagues recall her as generous, thoughtful, and quietly inspirational, someone who listened more than she spoke, yet whose presence could fill a room. Her humility was matched by her humor, and she often used both to connect with audiences and collaborators alike. She demonstrated that success was not defined solely by awards or recognition, but by the lives she touched and the authenticity she maintained. When news of Paulina Tamayo's passing came in 2025, Colombia and the broader Latin American music community mourned deeply. Tributes poured in from fellow artists, journalists, fans, and cultural institutions. Radio stations dedicated special segments to her work, concert halls played her songs in homage, and social media overflowed with messages recalling how her music had accompanied personal milestones, comforted in moments of grief, and inspired courage and creativity. Her voice, they said, had not only entertained but connected, forming invisible threads between hearts and generations. Paulina Tamayo's legacy is more than her recordings or live performances. It is in the emotional resonance she left behind, the stories she told through melody, the identities she affirmed, and the hope she instilled. Her music continues to bridge gaps between people, generations, and cultures, reminding us that art is most powerful when it conveys truth, empathy, and shared humanity. Today we remember Dionysis Savvopoulos, Francisco Pinto Balsemão, Davey Langit, and Paulina Tamayo, for lives woven together by spirit, creativity, and truth. Their legacies shine not only in what they created, but in how they lived, with purpose, humility, and heart. Though their voices have quieted, their influence continues to echo, in melodies sung by new generations, in principles upheld by those they inspired, and in the timeless truth that art and integrity are the highest forms of freedom.